Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 242 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Geige, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a good week. We have some fun stuff to announce tonight, so excited for that. And for anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard. We do these town halls every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you all do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. That's why we're calling it Ask StreamYard. So if there's anything you'd like us to touch on tonight, feel free to leave it in the chat. We'll do our best to get to as many as we possibly can. And then I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. See people tuning in from all over the world tonight. We have Indiana, we have New York, Claire from Australia as usual, and even Mike from China. Very, very cool. Before I forget, we have some awesome content on StreamYard. We've got YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel the second Saturday of every month. Really great show if you're looking to grow on YouTube. Both of them are pros when it comes to all things YouTube, and they give basically specific feedback on individual channels. So it's really helpful for things like thinking about your audience and your niche, and how often should you be posting? What should you be using shorts? Anything you can think of is will be talked about there when it comes to YouTube. Then we have Enhance Your Live Streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin. Again, Nick's a pro when it comes to all things video, so check that one out for your specific live streaming questions. And then one thing we've been doing at the start of these so that we get to know a little bit more about you get to know a little bit more about us is a fun fact. And the fun fact we had for tonight is favorite dog breed, if you have one, if you have a favorite dog breed. Do you have one, Dan?
Hard to say. So I'm not too much of I've never had any pets. I've never had a dog or a cat or anything. So for me, hard to pick one exactly, but I would say I think my favorite dog breed are Huskies. Well, I just found they look pretty cool. They're very friendly, at least in my limited experience. How about you?
Cool. Yeah, for me it's tough. It was between like the first dog I ever had as a kid, or the most common one my parents would get. My parents often had as I got older, German Shepherds growing up. So I think probably German Shepherd. I always really liked German Shepherds.
Cool. Yeah, they look pretty intimidating, but yeah, very cool.
Yeah, the ones we had were always quite friendly, but yeah, they can look intimidating. Cool. I see lots of questions coming in. Let's do a few questions before we get into the updates. One here from Data is King says, can you allow us to see the number of people that are waiting and show their names during the live? If you could be a little bit more specific, Data, because one thing I'm wondering is, like, when you say people waiting, part of me thinks, like, are you talking about guests waiting to join the studio itself? Or are you talking about people waiting before the stream starts and I assume on social or maybe something on air? If you could be a little bit more specific, it would be helpful. Any other thoughts, Dan?
Yeah, what I'm picturing is maybe he's looking for showing the viewers on social ahead of time. We don't have that information. Like, we don't have access to that. But if it is something to do with the studio, let us know.
Cool. Anna says, to use a second camera, can I use a guest link? So if you mean, Anna, like, can you join the studio yourself as a guest to have a different camera angle? Yeah, absolutely. Before we added the extra camera feature, that was definitely something people did regularly. So yeah, absolutely, you can do that. You'll just want to make sure that if it is close to you, you'll want to have it muted so you don't have like audio feeding back and forth or whatever. But yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Yep.
That's awesome, Kathy. Kathy says, love the pause feature when recording. Used it for the first time last week. Super happy to hear that.
Cool. Yeah, I really like the restart one. I think that's the one I've used the most.
Yes, if you're trying to make a recording, super. Yeah, having to remake a broadcast can be a bit cumbersome.
Yep.
Mental Health Toolbox says, any reason I'm getting an audio delay? I'm using an external mic via an interface and a I'm guessing that's DSLR Canon camera via the webcam utility. So I'm guessing Mental Health Toolbox that it has something to do with the interface. Like, there's a lot of things that you're going through before ultimately hitting StreamYard. So I would check if there's anything you can tweak. Interfaces often have a setting to tweak, like the sync between the audio and the video. So I'd check if there's any settings there. And then also I would go to the live chat and they can sort of walk through step by step like ask you what the individual devices you're using are, and try to troubleshoot with you. So check that out.
Cool.
Cool. So yeah, I see lots of other questions. We'll get to those in just a second, but I want to make sure we don't miss the updates for tonight. So the first one is Facebook posting. So you can now post trimmed videos to Facebook. So very similar to the feature we mentioned a couple weeks back, the ability to post basically long videos directly to YouTube. You can now post those videos directly to Facebook as well. Anything you want to add to that one, Dan?
Yeah, if it's useful, actually, let me just walk through it. I think that might be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And just also, especially for anyone who's not familiar with how the YouTube posting flow works. So I'll just explain it a little bit first. So as a lot of you probably know, we added trimming a while ago on StreamYard. So you do a stream or a recording, and let's say you want to trim a 5-minute chunk out of your 1-hour recording and post that off to YouTube. You can now do that directly within StreamYard. So you don't have to download the video and then go over to YouTube and upload it. We now also have that for Facebook. And we also have had that for Shorts and Reels for a while, but that's specifically for Shorts and Reels, whereas this new one is for like a 16:9 longer form video. So let me present this real quick. So this is on our library page, or media page as we call it. So if you're in the library, in the left tab, if you're on the library, you just click into any one of your videos and you'll come here. So this is just a video. It's literally just the countdown timer. If I then go to edit and repurpose, so you can see I can repurpose as a short and reel or a longer video. This is where we now have the Facebook option. So if I click in there, I can basically, let's say I want to just have the last, 10 seconds or so. So I've changed my 30-second countdown into a 10-second countdown here. When I'm done, I can publish that. So historically, as of a month ago or so, we had YouTube publishing, but now I can also publish to Facebook as well and fill out the title and description. If I click publish, that'll be posted to my page. And I didn't have to download the video, go to Facebook, upload it separately or anything. And then I'm hoping we can add even more platforms to this pretty soon, but for now we've at least got YouTube and Facebook, which is pretty awesome.
Cool. So yeah, we're super excited about it. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, definitely let us know.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Let's do a couple of questions here, and then I wanted to also talk about some more details around the recording controls feature. Let's see. Dimebag Darren says, or Dimebag Coin says, can you add the ability to take input from my Rtmp camera the way YouTube lets me Rtmp directly to my YouTube channel? I want to Rtmp to my StreamYard show. So we don't have the ability to take in an Rtmp feed directly into StreamYard yet, Dimebag. In the future, it's definitely a possibility. The way some folks work around it now is basically just instead of using Rtmp, they'll basically just get that RT, like whatever, presumably the RT is like some camera that you're capturing, basically just get that camera onto the computer that's running StreamYard and just screen share it or use a virtual web camera to get it in that way. But definitely understand the need for it, and it's something that we're open to. Movie says, hey guys, trying to add guests to my stream without a destination by doing it a different way. I think if I remember the question last time, Movie, it was, yeah, you want to, without going live, you want to try inviting guests. So yeah, you absolutely can do that. The way I would do it, if you just go to StreamYard.com, you're logged in, and you'll see on the dashboard, if you hit create and select the recording option, I'd click the recording option, get into the studio, and once you're in the studio, you'll see a button at the bottom that says invite, which will have a link, and you just have to send that link to your guest, and if they click that link, they'll be able to join the studio with you.
Yep, and everything will work quite similar to as if you were doing a live stream to YouTube or Facebook or anywhere. It's just you'll do a recording instead of a stream, and you don't even have to start the recording. You can just invite them, play around, click some buttons, see how things work, and then do a live stream later on if you wanted to. And
Nurse Adrian, I see your question about some issues with lagging. The easiest way to troubleshoot would be with the live chat. Like, I'll have so many questions that it would be hard to do here. So if you go to StreamYard.com/contact, there's a live chat there, and they would be able to help you step by step. If you've already done that and they haven't been able to resolve the problem, let me know, and I'll check and see if I can find like the logs and see if there's any more info I can find. Build with Mooney says, would you recommend as a woodworking channel to actually do woodworking during a live stream? So believe it or not, Mooney, I've definitely seen several woodworking channels that do just just that. Oftentimes there'll be various segments where it's like they do woodworking part of the time. They'll answer some questions. They do more woodworking. But based on what I've seen, if that's like what you want to do for your content, there's definitely an audience that loves watching people do woodworking. So totally viable if that's something you're interested in doing.
Yeah. And yeah, it's cool to watch live, especially if you can kind of, you don't have to do this, but if you hook it up in a way where you're talking over it as well so they can hear you while you're also doing the woodworking, I think that's pretty cool. Maybe a little harder to do with woodworking versus other stuff because the machines can be quite loud, depending what you're doing, obviously.
Cool. See, lots of other ones here. Chris says, hey guys, I have members that celebrated 6 months. What should they see on their end to show their milestone in the chat? So Chris, I'd have to look up on YouTube like what the experience exactly looks like. But I'm guessing YouTube has docs for it as well. But this is something that we support on top of YouTube, right? So the experience for your viewers is exactly the same experience they'd have if they were watching someone who wasn't even using StreamYard. I'm not, off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with exactly what it looks like.
I always forget what it looks like too. But there's a button that they can click basically to do a milestone chat, and they can do it once per month. I forget what the exact text is though.
Cool. So
it just looks similar to when you're doing a super chat, essentially.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll look it up so I have it on hand exactly what it looks like. But if you just search YouTube Memberstone Milestones, if YouTube has information about that, which I assume they do, it'll look exactly the same when you're using StreamYard.
Yeah, and someone in the chat might even know like the exact wording that it has, but yeah, on our end we'll basically show it to you, obviously, and then you can highlight it on screen, and it looks very similar to a super chat.
Awesome, Itty Bitty. It's great that you're starting. That's fantastic. Let's do one more here and then talk a little bit more about the recording controls. Claire says, I'd love to see in the future an option to further customize the size of the comments and banners when you pull them on screen and possibly have them be slightly transparent. Yeah, that's a great point, Claire. And that whole sort of realm of functionality is something we've been talking about in terms of, I've mentioned it a few times in the past, as an extension to sort of what we've done with custom layouts is giving you all more flexibility when it comes to going deeper and really having more control and customizability of the stream. And stuff like that is definitely part of what we're hoping to solve. So stay tuned on that. Yep.
We might also just add like a few more. I assume you're familiar with the themes and how we can make it look different just by changing the theme. But obviously there's only 4 options right now, so there's only so much you can do. We could just potentially add a few more of those as well. That's also something we've considered, but you will eventually be able to customize it more. Or there will be an option probably closer to what you're looking for.
Cool. And one thing I did want to reiterate for those that missed it is, as we've already talked a little bit about in the chat, is the update last week, which was recording controls. So everybody should have full access to recording controls. We'll play the video here just in just a second, walking through exactly how it works. Anything to add to it, Dan, before we play the video, or should we just let the video play and then answer any questions?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think play the video. And this is already out as well, just so everyone knows.
So here it is from Dana.
Hey, this is Dana from StreamYard. I'm so excited to announce that we just launched recording controls. Recording controls bring so much additional flexibility to the recording studio. Instead of doing one long take that you might have to edit, you can now create clips by pausing, canceling, and restarting the recording studio. I'm even using it now. Recording controls will only work on recordings. You can't pause a live stream. This feature is available on all plans. When you're in a recording studio, you'll see the new buttons up top near the broadcast button. You can pause, resume, restart, or cancel your recording. Pausing allows you to put the recording on hold. Useful if your doorbell rings and you need to answer it mid-show. This is perfect if you want to take a break, think about what you want to say, and then resume. You can cancel the recording, which will delete it. Restart does a bit of both. Restart will delete your last take and resume recording. If you have a destination connected to your studio, recording controls won't be available. You can't pause a live stream. Recording controls also work with local recordings. Once you're finished creating a recording, we'll merge all of your clips together into one recording. You might not even need to edit. But if you do, we have an editor for that. We're excited about this feature and we can't wait to see your recordings. Happy recording!
Awesome. So yeah, hopefully that's a helpful walkthrough of exactly how recording controls work. We did announce it last week, but there wasn't time to get to all the questions. So if there's any other feedback you guys have, suggestions or questions that you'd like us to touch on, definitely let us know. All right, let's start going through some of these. Ace of Spades podcast says, how do I remove my destinations from the selection page? All I can do is select and deselect a destination on that page. So you want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah, for sure. So let me know if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing. Well, okay, it depends what you're trying to do exactly, so I can answer in a few ways. So by remove your destinations, you mean you have a stream, let's say you're streaming to 2 destinations and you want to not stream to one of them. So maybe you selected Facebook and Twitch and you decided I don't want to stream to Twitch. When you're in the edit modal, which I think is what you're referring to here, you can unclick one and then it will say, do you want to remove this? And you can remove it. That will just remove it for that broadcast. If you're trying to remove a destination permanently, so let's say you don't have a Twitch account anymore, or you don't want to stream there, that's an example. On the dashboard on the left side, there's a destinations tab. If you click that button, you'll see all of your destinations listed there, and you can just click the little 3 dots icon for your destination and click to remove it, and that will just completely remove it from StreamYard. So we're not connected to it at all anymore. Hopefully that answers the question. Let me know if I missed it, though.
Awesome. Let's see here. Awesome, Joe. Super happy to hear that. It's great to have you here. Faisal says, any update coming for a musician for live music streaming? I'm a musician facing the problem when I play guitar and sing on StreamYard. The sound of the guitar is not properly streamed. So Faisal, you should be able to solve this with proper equipment. If you go to also the StreamYard contact page and search the support docs, I think we might have some specific documentation that walks through some of the best practice setups. But ideally, again, the best setup, it'll depend whether you have like an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar. But if you have a proper audio interface and a mixer and a proper setup to capture the various, like your voice, the guitar, anything else that's going on, and get that into the audio interface and then into StreamYard, you should be able to have it sound great. You just have to make sure that you have everything set up such that what's going into StreamYard sounds how you want it to sound. But yes, if you go to StreamYard.com/contact and search just like musician streaming, it should come up. If you can't find it, I would just use the live chat and they could probably help you find some resources.
Yep. And in terms of settings on StreamYard, the 2 I would make sure to check basically is there's one called echo cancellation. If you're just by yourself, you can turn that off as a musician and it'll make your audio sound a bit better. And then same thing with background noise removal. I would just make sure that's also off because you don't want that if you're a musician.
Yes. Good point. Let's see what else we had here. NBA Sports says, does StreamYard give me the ability to stop a live stream midway on a platform like LinkedIn while still streaming on YouTube? That's a good question, NBA. Yeah, it's not used very frequently, but you can absolutely do that on StreamYard. One way I've actually seen folks do that is sometimes to sort of help grow other channels. They'll maybe do the start of the stream on one particular channel, sort of grow some excitement around it and be like, hey, for the next segment, meet me over on YouTube. So I have seen it done. But yeah, basically what you'll do is in the destination section on StreamYard are fully dynamic, even if you're live, like whether you're not live, you're live. So if you just remove a destination in the middle of the stream but don't end the broadcast, it will stop sending it to that destination but continue on the other destinations. And then the reverse is also true. If you add a destination in the middle of the stream, it will start streaming there in the middle of the broadcast.
Yep.
Let's see. Felicia says, are we able to do a thumbnail with our lives or recordings? How do we do the lower thirds with the banner? So Felicia, the lower thirds with the banner, if you're in a studio, there's just this tab on the right called banners where you can type in any banner you want and show it dynamically. When it comes to thumbnails, yes, absolutely. So when you're doing a live stream, you'll have the option, if it's scheduled, to upload a thumbnail. It's pretty cool to get posted to all the places that you're streaming to. With recordings, do you want to? I guess. Sorry,
yeah. Depends what you want to use it for, I guess, on the recording side. But if you're planning to, let's say you do a recording on StreamYard and then you want to just share a link with someone so they can watch it or embed it on your website or something, you can upload a thumbnail specifically for that on StreamYard. But obviously, if let's say you're planning to just download it and then upload it on YouTube or something, you'd upload the thumbnail and upload it or wherever else.
Cool. Your audio got a little bit weird for a second there, Dan. I don't know if you're covering the mic or something.
Okay. Did you hear it already, though?
Now it sounds fine, yeah.
Can we say it again?
No, I was able to hear it. It just sounded like you were maybe like far, like not talking into the mic or
Okay.
something. Marianne says, with the recording option, can you keep the same broadcast link and just download the recorded video and not start a new broadcast again and again for a regular meetup? You want to take that one, Dan?
Yeah, hold up. Just reading it. Ah, got it. Okay. So this is something we're looking into. So the recording controls we've already shipped with pausing, for example, doesn't let you do this right now. But I definitely get the use case. Like, let's say you want to record every single week, the exact same people over and over again. That is something we're looking into to see if it's something we want to add. I think it will be something we want to add. We just need to figure out the best way to do it. But it is something we're actively exploring. And the same thing kind of for doing multiple takes. So you enter the studio, you maybe record for a minute, stop, and then you want to download that 1 minute chunk, watch it, see if it's good, maybe do another take. Kind of similar to pausing, but actually getting a separate video for each time. That's also something we're open to adding.
Awesome. Let's do a couple more questions here, and then we'll go ahead and do the giveaway. Bowling with the Fef says, could be a broad question, but what's the best current way to utilize a Stream Deck with StreamYard? Yes, that's a good question, Bowling. So we still don't have a direct integration with the Stream Deck yet, which we will likely add eventually. So there are a few extra steps required to use StreamYard with the Stream Deck. I'm not intimately familiar with the Stream Deck, but the biggest change we did make that folks are using as a way to interface with the Stream Deck is we do have hotkeys now. So basically on the Stream Deck, folks will map StreamYard's individual hotkeys onto the Stream Deck so that they can use it during the stream. But the request that we do have is adding that direct integration to really unlock all the functionality there and making it a little bit more seamless. Albert says, does the recording control allow one to capture timestamps for YouTube as an example? So the recording control does not capture timestamps, at least not at this time. It'll just like sort of pause, start over, etc. I'd be curious to learn a little bit more, Albert, in terms of like what you're hoping to get out of the timestamps. Like one thing that we have heard requested, like we've heard requests for timestamps in various forms. So if you could add a little bit more detail about like what you would like to see captured, it'd be helpful.
Yep.
And Sebastian, I see your comment there. If you could shoot me an email about the problem you're having, it would be helpful, and a little bit more detail about like what like links to streams and what exactly is happening. It would be super helpful for me. Dice Grinder says, am I able to have two separate StreamYard accounts? Yes, you can have separate accounts if you like. Should we go ahead and queue up? I'll do a couple more questions here, but should we go ahead and queue up the giveaway tool while I answer a couple more of these, Dan?
I'm on it.
Job says, I'm from Brazil and would like to know how I can broadcast live in the church with a cell phone in the browser tool and zoom in on the cell phone at the time or not. I await the answer. Nice to have you here, Job. So you absolutely can stream, like broadcast live in a church with a cell phone, like just on a standard LTE 4G type of connection by just going to StreamYard.com in the studio and streaming it. Zooming in, depending on like the type of device you have, may or may not be possible. Any thoughts on that one, Dan?
Sorry, I'm just reading it now. Yeah.
So I think at this time you can stream from the cell phone, Joe, but not zoom in and zoom out. It's something that we might be able to add in the future, but not right now.
I'd also be curious. I'm sorry, maybe you already asked this. I was reading a bunch of other comments. If by zoom in, do you mean zoom in your camera, or do you mean zoom in to just, let's say someone else is screen sharing, you want to zoom in to make sure you can see what's on the screen? That'd be useful to know. Like pinch to zoom just to see more, or actually zoom in on your camera.
Yep. Let us know. Awesome. I think many of you are already familiar, but we always do a giveaway towards the end of these live streams. To be eligible, all you have to do is type in #theyard. And tonight we'll give away a StreamYard pillow and a StreamYard sweater. And if you're ever interested in running a giveaway like this yourself, you just go to StreamYard.com/giveaway. This tool is fully accessible, and there's a video walking through exactly how to use it, but you can do exactly what we're doing here, and even have your own keyword. So yeah, we'll give you 10 seconds or so to get in your hashtag the yards. Llama Bryant says, is it possible to have notes about changes to the platform prior to entering the studio? Love the ability to clean up your appearance at the beginning today. Yeah, that's a great question, Llama. One thing we did add pretty recently is if you just go to StreamYard.com and the first sort of page that you hit in the top right there, if you click the sort of top right, like hamburger might not be the best term, the drop down menu, I can't remember exactly how it's titled, and it's just called new on the.
Yeah, let me just make sure we get the name exactly. If you click my account, it's then called news.
News. So yeah, if you click the news section, Llama, it has a complete historical record of every feature that's been added, and anything new will be there as well. If you want to sort of see if there's anything that you missed, or you want to check if there's been anything that's changed before actually going into a studio.
Yep, and I believe you can also subscribe to that list as well, and then you'll get an email every time something is added there, so you don't have to keep constantly go back and checking it.
Absolutely. I think that the number has stabilized, right, Dan?
It's pretty stable, yeah. I think we're good.
All right.
All right, for a hoodie and a pillow. Good luck, everyone.
Larry, congrats. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. If you could send an email to contact@StreamYard.com, the team can get your address and your size and ship you your brand new StreamYard pillow and your StreamYard sweater.
Cool. Congrats, Larry.
Past Point Comics has a good question. Recently, every time I log out completely, and when I try logging back in, I have to have a code sent to my email before I can log back in. Is there a way to override this?
Sort of.
Yes. So yeah, I guess sort of. So we did recently add Google login, Past Point Comics. So this isn't something that's only affecting you, right? This is just historically how our login has always worked. We don't have passwords on StreamYard. Instead of you having to create a password, we just send you a code every time, which is in some ways more secure because you're never giving a password. But we understand that that's an extra step for some folks. So we do have the ability now to log in directly with Google. So you can actually, if you go to the settings on your account, there's an option to add Google login. And then if you are open to logging in with Google instead of your email, there's no code involved with that, and it's just a single click. All right, I think we probably have time for maybe one or two more here. I see a question here asking about what's the difference between StreamYard and OBS. There's a bunch of differences, Psychic. The biggest difference is probably that StreamYard is cloud-based, whereas OBS runs directly on your computer. And some of the nice things about it being cloud-based is it's leveraging basically StreamYard's computer, StreamYard servers, versus your own computer. So for one, you can stream on a much less powerful device. So if you wanted to use like a Chromebook or maybe an older computer, it should work great. Whereas something like OBS is just not really going to have the power to be able to run something like OBS. One thing we talked a bit about a couple shows ago is like stuff like disconnect protection, like the ability to keep streaming even if your internet goes out. That's something that with OBS you just can't really do because it's running directly on your own computer. There's guesting. There's all kinds of stuff. If you just go to StreamYard.com and check out the different features and stuff, that'll probably give you the best idea.
Yeah, it's also much easier. Is probably the main thing I would say. Yes,
it's definitely meant to be. If you're looking to get set up quickly and something that's pretty simple, that's a big part of it. All right. I know there's tons of questions we didn't get a chance to get to tonight. Dan and I will go through all of them afterwards to check what they were and hopefully get a chance to get to them next week. This was episode 242 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure being here with you, and we will see you next week at the same time, Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Cool. See you next week, everyone.